The 1987 Cotton Bowl would feature two very similar teams. Both the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Texas A&M Aggies bring to Dallas a deep-seated winning tradition. Both bring a near fanatical following, and both accomplished highly successful 9-victory seasons under brilliant head coaches. Both are looking for a great battle.
It is going to be a great football game. There's no question. If you look at it, that there's two outstanding football teams, and I think nationally there'll be a lot of interest in the game, and hopefully that we will have an opportunity to play very well.
Most certainly Texas A&M, being the champion of the Southwest Conference, will be very proud of their accomplishments in the conference, but they are a nationally ranked football team, and rightly so. They're a very fine football team. We're going to have to do everything right and not make any mistakes against Texas A&M to be in the ballgame.
Tuesday morning of Cotton Bowl week, some 48 hours before this Battle of Champions, Texas A&M coach Jackie Sherrill and Ohio State coach Earl Bruce meet the press.
The most impressive thing about Ohio State is that, when you look at their offense or defense, they're not going to get beat by turning the ball over, but yet they beat you by taking the ball away. Their turnover ratio is outstanding. They have two great players. I'm talking about outstanding. I feel that probably the player that, and I told Earl this the other day, that I feel that the most underrated player that they have on their defense is their outside linebacker. Is he a super player? And I don't know how you bring in an ex-quarterback and put him, I guess Johnny Holland feels in that category too, but this young man can play, Kumar, is it Kumar? And he's, I guess how to pronounce his name, he's really an outstanding player. And it's very difficult to be able to put an offensive back on him to keep him off the quarterbacks. Their defensive secondary has got some quickness to them. They have 25 interceptions, I believe. And so defensively, they chase and get to the ball. And there's no question that Spillman is a great football player at linebacker. And you look at what he's done, the physicalness that he has, but also chasing the football. The thing that I'm impressed on him more than anything else is the way he just moves up and down the line of scrimmage laterally, and he steps over that trash and just makes the big plays. And when you look at Carter, the premier receiver in college football, there's no question that, being 6'2" and 205, and the great thing that I feel about that young man is he's got such great awareness of the field that he knows where the open place is. He knows where the defensive backs are. And you look at the film, and people have, double, triple, they try to play high, low on him. They've done everything, and yet he's still going to get open.
I think like Jackie a little bit in the fact that some of the matchups that are important for us to take care of, like Woodside and Bernstein, who have caught 65 and 52, if they catch they're probably going to catch their number of passes. The other people can't catch any passes, but obviously I think that's very important. We shut a little bit of that down. And they have a very fine, controlled passing attack, and they put Bernstein in so many places it's very difficult to find him. And if you do find him, you probably know a little bit about what they're going to do, because they're going to feature him somehow. Even with the blocking, because he is when he goes in tight, he's a fine blocker. So I think that matchup, and Vic is an exceptionally hard runner. If you don't take the middle away from him, it'll be something else, because you'll have a sad day, because they'll control the football. And that probably is one of their bases of their success, is that they can control the football with their short passing game and their fine running attack with Vic carrying the ball. And how they do that is they come off the ball. Their big line comes off the ball and pushes you back, and they run a 220-pound 4-5 guy in behind them, and that's awful difficult to stop.
The Cotton Bowl countdown kicks off at the Big Play Luncheon, held on the final day of 1986 at the Dallas Hyatt Regency Hotel. An overflow crowd enjoyed Southern hospitality Cotton Bowl style with a 4-star meal. It was the Cotton Bowl Athletic Association saying thank you to everyone involved and giving them a chance to get a closer look at the outstanding players and coaches from both teams. The topic was football, past and present, at this annual event. Dignitaries from both universities, corporate sponsors, and sports legends are in attendance as the 1987 Texas Sports Hall of Fame awardees are recognized. Coach Jackie Sherrill also gets into the action with a special presentation. Next stop is the Cotton Bowl for final pregame tune-ups and a few last words for the hundreds of television and newspaper reporters from across the nation who cover this annual clash. Players also find time to unwind and relax before the big game. After scoring 36 points in last year's victory over Auburn, the Aggies are looking to become the first team to win consecutive Cotton Bowl crowns since Notre Dame in 1978 and 79. Football isn't the only sport on the fans' minds during the week of pre-Cotton Bowl rallies and revelry. The Dallas Morning News Classic at Reunion Arena pits the Atlantic Coast Conference regular season champion North Carolina Tar Heels against co-champions of the Big Ten, the Purdue Boilermakers. The results, championship caliber basketball, a packed Reunion Arena, and all kinds of excitement on the court. They come to pay respect to the Cotton Bowl Queen. Each member of the Southwest Conference and Ohio State sends a beautiful co-ed to represent their institutions at one of Dallas' most glamorous events of the year, the spectacular New Year's Eve Ball. Cotton Bowl Queen Reese Reeves of Texas A&M radiates the excitement of the event. The finishing touch is her crowning by Cotton Bowl Chairman Jim Ray Smith and President Dan Petty. Photos are taken, and this gets the evening off to a sparkling start. The Cotton Bowl week is coming to a close. New Year's Day and the 51st Cotton Bowl Classic are hours away. It is time to reflect on what the Cotton Bowl Classic means to Dallas and the people involved.
When you can match two conference champions like Texas A&M and Ohio State, then you're in for a heck of a football game.
It's been a great week, and there's no question in my mind now why the Cotton Bowl has lasted 51 years and why it's considered one of the great bowl games in college football.
Well, it's been wonderful. They've had all kinds of festivities for us this past week. It's great to be able to represent Texas A&M in the Southwest Conference and also the Cotton Bowl Athletic Association.
The Cotton Bowl is one of the greatest classics that Dallas has. It's in its 51st year. It's something that Dallas and all of Texas can be proud of, and I'm proud to be associated with it.
January 1st, 1987, and the 30th Cotton Bowl Parade is underway, led by the famous Kilgore College Rangerettes and their band. This year's dynamic parade features 17 floats, 18 bands, and 14 equestrian groups. Ohio State is represented magnificently with its cheerleaders, nationally acclaimed Buckeye band, and spectacular float. The parade's theme, Childhood Dreams Come True, does seem possible with Peter Pan, Captain Hook, and all the other crazy sights on hand. The great city of Dallas and a national CBS television audience of millions are tuned in on a beautiful day of blue skies to see another edition of the world-famous Cotton Bowl Parade. Soon the festival atmosphere ends. Minds and faces are serious as Jackie Sherrill prepares his team to defend its Cotton Bowl crown.
Big question. I think everybody knows that answer. Guys, you earned the right to be here. You look at all the things that you've done, and you look at each week, and you look at how you set your season out, and how you performed each week. And you're talking about as a group and individually inside about the desire that you've had and the discipline you had inside as a team, and the dedication and certainly the determination you've had to get here. It's not easy to repeat. You've earned the right to be here, and it's not easy to repeat. And everybody, you're the champion of the Cotton Bowl until we finish this ball game.
Ohio State, representing the Big Ten's first ever appearance in this prestigious Cotton Bowl Classic. An amazingly successful program that has won at least 9 games in every one of Earl Bruce's 8 years as head coach. And their opponent, the Aggies of Texas A&M, as Jackie Sherrill tries to become only the 3rd head coach to win back-to-back Cotton Bowl victories in 51 years. There are basic and very important similarities between the Aggies and the Buckeyes. Both teams feature a strong, dominant passer. The Aggies quarterback, Kevin Murray, is the Southwest Conference Offensive Player of the Year. The Buckeyes' Jim Carsatos finishes the most prolific 2 consecutive seasons at quarterback in Ohio State history. Both quarterbacks throw to record-setting receivers. Murray's top target is all-conference Rod Bernstein, A&M's all-time leading career and single-season receiver. Carsado's favorite is All-American Chris Carter. Like Bernstein, his school's all-time leading career and single-season receiver. Defensively, both teams' foundation is an All-American inside linebacker. The Aggies' top tackler is Johnny Holland, Mr. Everywhere to teammates because he finds the football. While Ohio State linebacker Chris Spielman is the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year and 10th in the Heisman balloting. While these two traditional powers match up quite evenly in front of a jammed Cotton Bowl sellout crowd, the Buckeyes do steal the fashion headlines. Earl Bruce surprises even his own team, dressed in a charcoal gray suit with black fedora. And his players wear red high-top shoes for the first time in 11 years. Dressed in style with the fans at fever pitch, both teams are primed to decide this battle of champions. Coming off 9 wins in their last 10 games, the red-hot Aggies' hopes for victory ride on the rocket arm of North Dallas graduate Kevin Murray. With Rod Bernstein a hard-to-miss target and the tackle-popping inside power of fullback Roger Vick, the nation's third-best offense opens the first quarter with its sights on the Ohio State goal. One of the most productive attacks in Southwest Conference history, the Aggies battle all the way to the Buckeye 14, where Jackie Sherrill watches one pass, inches off the mark, stall the drive. At the 5, the 6'3" Bernstein is just a little too short. And the Aggies settle for 3. It is Scott Slater's 20th field goal of the year, the most in Southwest Conference history. On defense, the nationally ranked Aggies focus their attention on the man considered the top wide receiver in college football, Chris Carter. Constantly lining up 2 defenders in his path, hoping the Buckeyes will throw elsewhere. When the Big Ten co-champions force the ball toward their All-American target, Terrence Brooks has him covered like a warm and snug blanket. This top pass defense in the Southwest Conference builds an Aggie wall around its end zone for the entire first period, frustrating the man in black and giving A&M and its proud and frenzied followers a 3-0 lead after 15 minutes. But Ohio State's Chris Carter is too talented to be muzzled for long, and he is about to ignite the Buckeyes with an acrobatic catch that will rank as one of the great ones in Cotton Bowl history. Battling double coverage as he will all day, Carter simply outleaps and outfights 2 defenders to make a miraculous catch. The Buckeyes' big play aerial game is a problem for Sherrill, who has to defend not only a husky strong-arm quarterback, but a handful of multi-talented receivers. Completions of 34 and 37 yards carry the airborne Buckeyes inside the 3, where they turn to basic, grinded-out football for the touchdown. On the rerun of a perfect option, watch number 10, the Aggies' free safety, read Jim Carsados all the way, but overreact to the fake, and he's a step out of position to make the tackle. Known more for his arm than his legs, Carsados has used both to supply his team with a 7-3 lead. The Ohio State quarterback's run will be the only touchdown scored in the first half, as the punishing defenses of both teams take control. On one side, the Aggies with a smothering defense that is big and dominant and proved to be the fourth best in all of college football. On the other side, the Buckeyes' opportunistic defense. It lived by the turnover and allowed fewer points than any other Big Ten team in 1986. After 30 minutes of back-and-forth defensive-dominated football, Ohio State has 7 points, while Texas A&M has turned a pair of Scott Slater field goals into 6 points. This 51st Cotton Bowl Classic could not be much closer after the first half, and the bands of these two great institutions take center stage. First, the Ohio State University Marching Band of 197 members, directed by Dr. John Woods. Following an outstanding performance by the visitors from the Midwest, the fighting Texas Aggie band of 270 strong marches on with its power and precision, directed by Lieutenant Colonel Joe T. Haney. Splendid halftime show featuring both university bands, these fans are ready for more football. Trailing by a point, the Aggies enter the second half determined to sustain a fierce passing attack that brought Jackie Sherrill's team through an excellent 9-2 season and the Southwest Conference champions berth in this New Year's Day Classic. But on the third offensive snap of the second half, Aggie dreams turn into a nightmare. Chris Spielman becomes the first visiting Cotton Bowl player to return an interception for a touchdown since 1942. And this brilliant effort by the junior All-American certainly adds fire to the Buckeyes' confidence. A second look shows how Spielman, number 36, sort of hides behind the line. A spy, Murray would call him, and then gallops like a fullback past the stunned Aggies. Riding a wave of momentum, the Buckeyes again take possession away from the luckless Aggies, turning this incredible interception into 6 points, with the thunderbolt arm of Jim Carsados and a pair of wide receivers both averaging more than 16 yards per catch. Number 26 is Nate Harris, who seems to grab everything Chris Carter doesn't. Then when he's really needed, Carter finds a way to get open. The final 8 yards, however, belong to Vince Workman. And in the short span of some 6 minutes, the well-balanced Buckeyes have broken this game wide open. First with a defensive touchdown, then with a 59-yard scoring drive by the offense. The Aggies will not relinquish their Cotton Bowl crown without a 60-minute struggle. And when sophomore Alex Morris swipes an Ohio State pass early in the fourth period, there is still hope. A&M trailed both SMU and Baylor in conference games, but stormed back to victory behind the sparkling play of junior Kevin Murray. Can they do it again? The most successful quarterback in Texas A&M history teams with Roger Vick to slice into the Buckeyes' lead. It's now 21-12, and with nearly 6 minutes still to play, a 2-point conversion would cut the margin to just one touchdown. No quarterback since James Street of Texas in 1969 and 70 has led his team to 2 straight Cotton Bowl wins. That's the challenge facing Murray as he looks to turn this game around. The call is a rollout pass intended for Keith Woodside, but just out of bounds. And the Buckeyes have held firm against the #1 touchdown passer in Southwest Conference history. Another look shows how close Woodside came to maintaining possession with 1 foot inside the chalk mark. Trailing 21-12, the mission of Jackie Sherrill's defense is to neutralize the Buckeyes' scoring and regain possession for the offense. Twice they stopped the visitors without letting them cross midfield. With thousands of A&M fans thundering their approval, the stage is set for another Aggie comeback. On a key 3rd down, with 3 minutes to play, that comeback stumbles. Michael Key's 49-yard return dramatically wipes out any hopes A&M harbored of pulling this game out. It is the longest interception return in 51 years of the Cotton Bowl and marks the first game ever in this New Year's Day Classic when 2 interceptions are returned for touchdowns. It is, more importantly, the final blow as the Buckeyes end Texas A&M's quest for a 2nd consecutive Cotton Bowl victory. Another look shows Kevin Murray's 5th interception of the game is caused when 266-pound tackle Darrell Lee beats his block and bumps Murray's arm, disrupting the ball's trajectory. From there, it's simply a gallop to glory for the Buckeye senior linebacker. Their first visit to the Cotton Bowl is a successful one as the Buckeyes count down a stirring triumph over the proud Southwest Conference champions, 28-12. Mistakes proved to be the difference as Ohio State turned 3 second-half interceptions into touchdowns, stole 2 more passes to kill A&M drives, and celebrated their 5th bowl victory in the past 6 years, all under Earl Bruce. It was a memorable trip to Dallas for the Big Ten co-champions, right down to the wearing of the traditional Cotton Bowl jacket and the winning of the Kodak Championship Trophy, symbolic of success in this annual classic. Individual honors went to A&M's All-Conference Roger Vick, number 43. Vick concluded a busy senior season as the conference's leading rusher, and his 113 yards and 1 touchdown gained him the top offensive honors in this Dallas Classic. Junior linebacker Chris Spielman was selected the most valuable defensive player with 2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, and a total of 11 tackles. Texas A&M had come close to pulling it out, but when this 51st Cotton Bowl spectacular was history, the proud winners were the first-time visitors from Ohio State, who now begin their reign as the 1987 Cotton Bowl champions.